Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode, and we're going to ask ourselves, what's your life philosophy? Perhaps, are you an existentialist? Let's find out. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Wealth TV, coming to you live just outside of Phoenix, Arizona, here from the home office. And in this week's episode, I want to talk to you about what is your life philosophy, and have you really given it much thought? And I want to share with you something that happened to me in my 30s. I developed a life philosophy, and it's one of existentialism. And I can tell you it has served me quite well over many, many years in getting through some very tough times. And so if you don't have a life philosophy, that's okay. I want to at least introduce one way of thinking to you and have you think about it. And many of you know that I've written a few books. Where existentialism really came into focus for me was in a book called The Awakening that I wrote a few years ago, and I delved deeply into what the ethos of an existentialist is, what the life philosophy is all about. Some people, if you go online and Google it, and no, I'm not an atheist existentialist, so let's get that straight. But it doesn't matter really what your belief in general is. I just want to share a few thoughts on existential way of being, if you will, and how to live your life, and really how it's profoundly impacted me. It really started for me on a book that I wrote called The Psychology of Higher Living. And that's where I really started to think about, well, what is my life philosophy? And in my early 30s, it came into focus. And really being an existentialist is really just taking responsibility for the things that you're manifesting in your life. If you are in a chapter right now where you are manifesting tremendous amounts of prosperity, it's because of actions and behaviors that you've taken. A lot of times, though, we tend to blame external circumstances. We blame politics. We blame the fact that the economy may be in the dumps. When you went through the Great Recession of 2008, it would be easy to say, well, my life's not working because of the economy. A lot of times we blame who's in the White House, Republican or Democrat. We blame our parents and the way we grew up. I certainly grew up in a family that was very fractured. My parents were divorced. By the time I was 13, I grew up what I felt was, in a way, poor. And so, one income family, and then when that family divorces and you go from living in a house to living in an apartment, you can feel pretty poor pretty quick. But I really decided that I didn't want to blame any of those things. I started off in life, some people know, in very tragic circumstances. And I'll get into this in other videos and illuminate this in greater depth. But I walked in when I was 20 years old and found my mother, who had died from a stroke. And she was there, and she had been dead for a few days, and I found her. And so that was pretty horrific. But I send all of that away, and I say, what I'm manifesting right here, right now, is because of the things I've done. So if you're 20, 30, 40 pounds overweight and you're not in good health, it's because of poor eating habits. It's not exercising. And the same thing with our careers and our business or our jobs. And that's a tough pill to swallow, but it's some tough medicine for yourself to say, whatever my circumstances, if I don't have a great relationship in my life, if I don't have that love, and if that's what you're looking for, and you don't have that, it's because you haven't taken the right actions. And I've really been hard on myself, but it's been good, because to be an existentialist means that we take full responsibility for everything that's happening in our lives, regardless of external circumstances. That's really the simplest definition of what it's like to be an existentialist. And I've had chapters in my life where I've been very successful, made a lot of money as a real estate investor, doing construction, investment banking, and mortgage banking. Those are, I've had a very diverse career over 29 years. And then I've had some chapters in my life where I've been completely wiped out. I've lost everything. I've talked about this in other videos. I've lost cars, I've lost houses, I've lost a marriage, I've lost everything and been dead broke. So I know what it's like to really walk this walk of saying, I'm going to take responsibility for everything that's showing up in my life right here, right now, whether it's good or bad. Take responsibility for it. That's very liberating as well. We send blame away. We don't blame our parents. We don't blame the economy. We don't blame the fact that we may have just lost a job or our business has failed. And we really look deep within and say, what is it that I'm doing? What am I manifesting? What am I putting out there into the marketplace? You know, when you help enough people get what they want, you end up getting what you want. It's one of my favorite sayings. I also believe that we should stand on the books that we read. And I'm going to just share, you know, I can't help but do a YouTube video here on our channel without sharing a couple of books. One that I haven't shared before is Eat to Live by Dr. Joel Fuhrman. And, you know, I would encourage you guys to go to his YouTube channel or look up his videos. Read the book Eat to Live, because it made a huge impact on my life. It was a transformation for me. You know, if we're not putting good food in our bodies and we're not exercising, you know, how do we expect to really create that wealth that we want? And so, you know, that's a good one. Another one that made a profound impact was Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. And I certainly went through that search. That book had a profound impact on me. It's a very powerful read, and you can read it in a couple of hours. So I want to just share, you know, when we're going through really tough times, I've had to reinvent myself. I've had to start over. Right now I'm in an exciting chapter with our premier homes, as you can see behind me. I'm excited. We're working with a small group of investors. We're building homes here in Arizona, driving tremendous profits, and it's a real blessing, and I certainly operate from a paradigm of gratitude. But it's been a long journey back, you know, and sometimes it takes a good marketplace. But even if our economy is not doing well or other things, we can still take inventory. We can take complete responsibility for what we have with our personal relationships or the lack thereof, our personal health or the lack thereof, and our finances. And I certainly think what's helped me is to do something I'm passionate about. I love building homes, so that's helping me manifest the prosperity. And we all want to be rainmakers in our lives. But to make it rain, I think the first place to start is form a life philosophy. You know, the ethos of an existentialist, if you will, is to really say, I'm going to take complete responsibility for everything. And that's in all departments: our health, our food, our love life, our relationships, our business, and the things that we really want to do. And if you can operate from that paradigm of complete responsibility and sending all the blame away for everything, your family, how you grew up, the economy, and just look deep within, I think it will really serve you. It's really worked well for me in tough times and in great times. And so I just want to share that quick video with you and my life philosophy of what it's like to be an existentialist. I could go on for hours. We don't have that here on the channel. But if you would, get down below, give us your comments here on our YouTube channel. Tell me what you think about being an existentialist. And if you haven't thought about it before, look it up. Give me some thoughts below. Spread the gospel, if you will, of our channel to your friends. Subscribe if you haven't already. And share the channel. And appreciate you watching. And until next week, remember, don't forget to live rich. And if you want to create that wealth, it has to start with a place from health. So eat good, exercise, so you can be around to be healthy and become wealthy. Until next week.